After sitting by my wife's side through her surgery recovery, I found out she had been sneaking out to meet her affair partner when I thought she was at physical therapy. When I confronted her, she giggled and said, "You're the nurse. He's the lover." I waited until her birthday party, then handed her a get-well-soon card with divorce papers inside. I'm not the kind of guy who shares his life online, but what happened to me this year has been eating away at me. Maybe writing it out will help. Maybe someone else who's gone through the same kind of betrayal will see it and feel less alone. I'm 42. Name's Kyle. I live in Boise, Idaho, and I've been married to Amanda for almost 14 years. I work as a paramedic. Long shifts, crazy hours, but it's honest work. Amanda's a social worker. At least, she used to be. Now I don't even know who she really is. We met at a friend's barbecue back in our late 20s. She was bold, loud, and sharp. Not fake loud, just confident. She liked to be seen, liked to be heard, and I loved that about her. When she laughed, it filled a room. When she looked at you, you felt like you mattered. That's the Amanda I married. Or maybe that was just the mask. Everything started to fall apart after her ski accident last December. She tore her ACL during a weekend trip to Sun Valley. Her knee popped so bad, she collapsed right there in the snow. I wasn't with her, she went with a group of co-workers. But I got the call and drove out to meet her at the ER. She had surgery a few weeks later. I moved things around at work so I could be there. Cooked for her. Cleaned up after her. Brought her meds, iced her knee every 4 hours, even slept on the couch to give her space in the bed. She cried a lot during recovery. Said she hated feeling weak. I told her it was temporary, and I'd be there every step of the way. And I was. By March, her surgeon cleared her for physical therapy. 3 times a week. At first I drove her, waited in the car or ran errands, then drove her home. But after a few weeks, she said she wanted to handle it on her own. Said she needed to feel independent again. I understood. She was proud. I respected that. But then little things started to feel weird. She started dressing up for PT, makeup, jewelry, even perfume. Her appointments were usually around 2 p.m. She'd come back around 4:30 saying she was exhausted. But her hair would look fresh, like she just got it styled. Sometimes she changed clothes midday. She claimed she sweated too much and had to freshen up. Once, she came back wearing heels. For physical therapy. I asked her about it, and she said her friend Becca had met her after for coffee, and she didn't want to look like a slob. That didn't feel right. But I let it go. Then I found the receipt. She left around 1 p.m., like usual. Said she had a double-length session that day. I waited 5 minutes, then got in my truck and followed her from a few cars behind. She didn't go to the PT clinic. She drove into a residential neighborhood near the bench, pulled into the driveway of a small Airbnb. Sat in the car for a few minutes. Then he came out. He was tall, muscular, probably mid-30s. Wore a tight t-shirt and jeans that looked painted on. They hugged. She kissed him on the cheek. They both laughed. Then they went inside. I parked down the street and sat there for over an hour. The lights were on. Her car was in the driveway. I just stared at it. Eventually, I drove back home. I felt sick. Like I was going to throw up. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat in the garage for half an hour before going inside. She came home later that day smiling, said PT was brutal and that her therapist really pushed her. I nodded. Said I was glad she was healing. 2 days later, I confronted her. Calm. No yelling. I just said, I know you're not going to therapy. I followed you. I saw him. She looked at me for a few seconds. Then she did the one thing I never expected. She laughed. A short giggle. Not nervous. Not scared. Like it was a joke. Then she said, "You're the nurse. He's the lover." Just like that. I got her a card. A simple, "Get well soon" card. Cheesy, with a cartoon bear holding flowers. Inside, I wrote, "Hope you heal fast, from the lie you've been living." Then I slid in the divorce papers. Already signed. Already filed. The party was packed. Her coworkers. Friends. Family. Her cousin flew in from Dallas. I waited until she was opening gifts. When it got to mine, she smiled wide and said, "Ah, Kyle, you got me something?" "Yeah," I said. "Something you've earned." She opened the card. Her smile faltered. Then she pulled out the papers. For a few seconds, she was silent. Then she whispered, "What is this?" I stood up, faced the whole room, and said, "Amanda's been cheating on me for months. Says I'm the nurse, and the other guy's the lover. So I figured this was a good day to let her start healing on her own." The room went dead silent. Her mom gasped. Someone dropped a drink. Her cousin muttered, "Jesus Christ." Amanda just stared at me. I walked out. Didn't say another word. After I left the party, I parked at a rest stop just outside of town. I sat in my truck and stared at the sky until the sun came up. My phone buzzed every few minutes, calls, texts, voicemails. I didn't check any of them. Around noon, I went home, packed a few bags, and moved into my buddy Mitch's spare room. Mitch and I go way back, we worked together on the same ambulance crew years ago. He didn't ask questions. Just handed me a beer and said the couch was mine. Over the next few days, the fallout exploded. Amanda tried calling non-stop. When I didn't answer, she started texting, "We need to talk." That was cruel. I never meant to hurt you. Then the tone shifted. "You embarrassed me in front of everyone I care about. You made me look like the villain. You've ruined everything." I didn't answer a single one. Then Becca, her best friend, called me. Left a voicemail saying I could have handled it in private. That I made a scene for no reason. Said Amanda was just confused, and I was being cold. I texted back one thing, "She made the scene. I just turned on the lights." That shut her up. But Amanda wasn't done. 1 week after the party, I got served. She was contesting the divorce. Claimed I abandoned the marriage and caused emotional distress. She also filed a temporary restraining order, saying I was unpredictable and emotionally threatening. Mitch came home from work and found me holding the papers. He raised an eyebrow. "She actually trying to flip this?" "Looks like it." I lawyered up the next day. Hired a local guy, Harold Brenner, old school, sharp, no nonsense. He looked over everything and said, "She's trying to stir mud to cover her own tracks." We filed a motion to bring the affair into court. That's when the game changed. Because I had proof. Dates. Receipts. Photos. The Airbnb booking history. Hell, even screenshots from her own text messages. She had once sent me a picture of her in the car, on the way to therapy, but the background didn't match the clinic. I had location data that proved it. Harold built a rock-solid case. And once her lawyer saw what we had, the calls from Amanda stopped. But it wasn't over yet. One night, around 11 p.m., there was a knock at Mitch's door. It was the guy. The one from the Airbnb. He looked pissed off. Real slick, real sure of himself. "You Kyle, he asked. Mitch stepped in front of me. What's it to you? I'm Brad, he said. Amanda's boyfriend. He said it like I was supposed to be impressed. I don't give a shit, I said. Go away. He didn't move. You humiliated her. That wasn't cool. She didn't deserve that. I actually laughed. She didn't deserve public shame for sneaking around behind her husband's back for months while pretending to be in recovery. You sure about that? You're bitter, he said. She's happier now. Mitch stepped up again. And you're standing on my porch. You've got about 3 seconds to leave. Brad puffed up, like he was going to throw a punch. But he backed off. Called me a sad little man and walked to his car. The next morning, Amanda posted a long Facebook rant. Something about reclaiming her story and overcoming emotional abuse. She made herself sound like a victim. I stayed silent. But my cousin, Rachel, didn't. She commented. Funny how you never mentioned your physical therapy sessions at the Airbnb. Want me to post the receipts, Mandy? The post disappeared within the hour. People started talking. Some of her friends backed off. Her cousin from Texas messaged me, said she was sorry for how the party went, and that some folks needed to be reminded not to play games they can't finish. But Amanda wasn't done trying. 2 weeks later, she sent a letter through her lawyer. She wanted to settle. Said she'd drop the contest if I agreed to a financial payout. She wanted half the house. Half the savings. And full ownership of her car, which I had paid off last year. Harold laughed when he read it. Let's play a little longer, he said. Let's see how much she enjoys the spotlight when we bring Brad into court. I agreed. But I also had something else planned. Amanda thought that birthday party was the end of it. She had no idea what was still coming. About a month after Amanda's birthday party, just when things seemed like they were cooling off, I found something that reignited the whole thing. I was at the house briefly, legally allowed for scheduled property retrieval, and while I was packing some old tools from the garage, I found an old shoebox shoved behind a shelf. Inside were letters. Not emails. Not texts. Actual handwritten letters from Brad. Pages and pages, dating back almost a year. They weren't just flirty. They were specific. Detailed. Talking about how they first met at a fundraising event Amanda helped run. How he couldn't believe a woman with a ring like hers would flirt back. How she said she was stuck with a paramedic who worked too much and paid too little attention. I read every single one. In one of them, Brad wrote, I can't wait until the divorce is done. You deserve someone who actually worships you. Not someone who wipes your ass with a smile. That one burned. It also proved she'd been planning to leave me long before her accident. The affair didn't start during recovery, it started before the surgery. She just used the injury to get more freedom. I took the letters straight to Harold. He smiled. This changes everything. We added them to the file. They proved intent. Long-term deception. Premeditated infidelity. Which in Idaho, still means something in court. But I wasn't just interested in court anymore. Amanda worked at a local nonprofit that supported domestic abuse survivors. Her whole image was built around being a trustworthy advocate, someone who stood for women who've been hurt. Turns out, that included herself. In one of the letters, Brad made a stupid mistake. He mentioned how Amanda once used a past patient story in one of her public talks to sound more relatable. That's a violation. Confidentiality. Ethics. Maybe even legality. So I called the nonprofit. Asked to speak to the director. Gave them the letter. They didn't say much, but I could tell the wheels were turning. 2 weeks later, Amanda was put on administrative leave. Her name disappeared from the website. Rumor was, an investigation had started. She tried to act like she was taking a mental health break. But her silence online said otherwise. Then Brad got caught in the storm too. Turns out, he was married. Yep. I found his wife through one of his tagged photos. I reached out. Sent her screenshots of the letters. The Airbnb receipts. Everything. She called me that night, crying. Said she had no idea. Said they had a 3-year-old daughter. That's when it hit me, Amanda wasn't just reckless. She was evil. She had helped destroy another family while blowing up her own, and smiled while doing it. Brad's wife, Jessica, filed for divorce immediately. Amanda's Facebook page went dark. The comments started coming in. Her little support bubble was collapsing. Some people still backed her, said she was going through a lot. But most saw the pattern now. Especially after Jessica shared her side. But the most unexpected part came next. Amanda's mom showed up at Mitch's place. I opened the door and found her standing there with a grocery bag full of what looked like old photo albums. "I needed you to have these," she said. "She doesn't deserve them anymore." We sat on the porch. She cried. "She was raised better than this," she said. "I don't know who she's become." I didn't say much. Just listened. That night, I flipped through the albums. Pictures of our wedding. Her smiling in a hospital bed after her surgery. Me, next to her, feeding her ice chips. Every one of them felt like a lie now. And yet, I couldn't look away. Because I wasn't done yet. The court date was getting closer. And I had one last card to play. The court date finally came. Amanda walked in dressed like a school principal. Hair tied back, minimal makeup, reading glasses she didn't need. The whole innocent act. Brad wasn't with her. Her lawyer tried to paint me as unstable, angry, and bitter. Said I embarrassed Amanda in public and tried to punish her emotionally. They pushed hard on the birthday party incident. But then Harold stood up and laid out the timeline. The letters. The Airbnb visits. The fake PT appointments. The Facebook post she made about reclaiming her story, which, thanks to Rachel's screenshot, we had in full. Then the best part, Harold handed over an affidavit. From Jessica, Brad's wife. She confirmed the affair. Confirmed Amanda knew Brad was married. Said Amanda lied to her, told her they were soulmates, and that Kyle's too boring to notice anything anyway. You could hear Amanda's lawyer deflate. Papers rustled. Amanda's fake calm cracked for the first time. Her hand started shaking. She mumbled something to her lawyer, but the damage was done. When the judge looked at Amanda, she didn't see a victim anymore. She saw someone who lied, schemed, and got caught. I didn't win everything. Idaho doesn't punish cheaters the way you wish it would. But I kept the house. I kept my retirement. I didn't pay her a dime. The car? She got it, sure. But a week later, Brad moved out and she had to sell it to cover her legal fees. I didn't gloat. I didn't say anything to her as she walked out of court. But the final twist came 2 months later. Jessica and I grabbed coffee. She wanted closure. We talked like two people who'd just come out of a fire. Then she showed me something. A letter Amanda wrote to Brad after the court hearing. I moved back into the house. I painted the walls. Took down every picture of us. Got a dog. Took up woodworking in the garage. It's been 6 months. I still wake up some nights wondering how I didn't see it coming sooner. I made mistakes too. putting her first so much that I stopped noticing how far she drifted. I didn't ask enough questions. I didn't want to see the cracks. But I see everything clearly now. She said, "You're the nurse. He's the lover." Well, she lost them both. And I walked out of that hospital room, and out of that marriage, with my spine a little straighter. She's the one who needs healing now. And there's no nurse left to help her. A few people have messaged me since all this went down. Old friends, co-workers, even strangers from town who heard pieces of the story through the grapevine. Most ask the same thing: how are you doing now? Truth is, some days still hurt. That kind of betrayal doesn't leave clean. It clings. It makes you second-guess kindness, wonder if love is just another word for blindness. But I've also learned that scars don't mean you're weak. They mean you fought. They mean you healed, even if it took longer than you wanted. I started going to therapy. Not for Amanda. For me. For the man who spent months bathing a woman who lied to his face every single day. For the man who confused loyalty with self-sacrifice. And slowly, I began to separate her choices from my worth. I see my worth now. I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. But I am done letting people like Amanda rewrite the truth to make themselves feel better. There's a strange freedom in losing everything you thought you needed. It makes room for what actually matters. And no, I haven't started dating again. Not because I'm scared. But because for the first time in years, I'm choosing myself. Amanda's still in town. I hear things sometimes. She works part-time now, lives in a rental, drives an old sedan. The spotlight's gone. So are most of her friends. Brad disappeared completely. I don't think even she knows where he went. But me? I'm living. Not just existing. And I hope she remembers that every time she limps past a mirror and sees the scar on her knee. Because every scar tells a story. And hers? Hers is about the day she lost everything chasing a lie. Exactly 1 year to the day after the birthday party, the one where I handed her a "get well soon" card with divorce papers inside, Amanda messaged me. I didn't expect it. I'd blocked her on everything. She found me through a mutual friend's Facebook post. The message was short. "Do you have time to talk? Just once. Please." I stared at it for a long time. I'd thought about this moment before. What I'd say if she ever came crawling back. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Another part wanted to hear her say it, say she was wrong. Say I was right. Say she threw away the best thing she ever had for a man who used her up and disappeared. I told her I'd meet her. Public place. 1 hour. My terms. We met at a diner we used to go to on weekends, neutral ground. She walked in looking like a different person. Hair tied back messy, no makeup, clothes that looked like they hadn't seen an iron in weeks. She looked tired. Like life had finally caught up to her. She sat down. Didn't smile. "I won't take up your time," she said. "I just need to say something." I nodded. Didn't offer anything. Just waited. "I thought he was something special," she said. I really did. He made me feel seen. I felt young again. And I thought I could balance it. You, him. I was selfish. I didn't speak. I wanted her to keep going. "I don't know why I'm telling you this now," she said. "Maybe I'm hoping you'll say something that'll make me feel better. But I don't deserve it. You were good to me. Better than I ever was to you." I finally spoke. "You didn't just cheat, Amanda. You let me carry your pain and then gave someone else your smile. That's not selfish. That's cruel." She nodded. Her eyes filled up, but she didn't cry. I lost everything, she said. Everyone. And I know I did it to myself. There was silence between us. Just the clatter of forks and cups in the background. Then she said, "Do you hate me?" I thought about it. I really did. "No," I said. "I don't hate you. I don't feel anything for you anymore. And that's worse than hate." She nodded. Stood up. Didn't ask for a hug. Didn't try to reach for my hand. She just said, "Take care of yourself, Kyle," and walked out. I sat there for a while after. Stirred my coffee. Watched her car drive off. And I realized something: closure doesn't come in the form of apologies. It comes when you stop waiting for them. I walked out, got in my truck, and never looked back.